Oh. Hi everyone. Welcome to my stream. I will be drawing a phoenix today as part of the Pixel Dailies challenge. Pixel Dailies challenge is a challenge everyone can take part in. It comes up with a new challenge every day. It gives a prompt, and today's prompt for the 30th of June 2023, it was a phoenix. Since I've been drawing a lot of isometric art recently, I wanted to tackle drawing a phoenix, so an isometric perspective. If you want to take part of the challenge, you can take a look at this channel. Let me post it into the live chat as well. I'll put it on top of the screen here too, so for those of you who are watching later who can also find it. Basically, it's this channel. I'm not recording my screen, but um, I can post a picture in the Sprite. Basically, you can go to this page on Twitter, and they also on other socials, and then you can do the Dailies challenge. So that's the challenge I'll be doing today. I already made a little setup here. And I'll be getting started, so hope you enjoy the stream. I made a little prefab for the grounds, which we might customize later, just taking it in right now as reference. I have no idea what I'm gonna do post-wise, but I use this, it's called the Twilight Quest 76 palette. Which is made by... Let me check that real quick. Google, what are you doing? Google's doing weird things. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, the Twilight Quest 76 palette was made by the artist called Carrie Lake. It can also be found on low spec by going towards this link. Hi Villain, welcome. So, like getting started, he's gonna put the ground on a lower opacity so it isn't as apparent as it should be. I'm just gonna see if I can make like a little outline of the bird. I've never really drawn an isometric bird, so gonna be interesting to see how that will go. I'm thinking about making the bird be a little bit like rising up, or at least have the be more like a regal face like this, and then have the wings be a little bit like that, for example. Should be like torsos here, so the wings should go away there. Still very rough, but it's basically I want to give like a royal regal looking appearance. I guess it's flying, so it should be a little bit higher than this. And have like a little bit of a plume there. Still, not really the details are not in there yet, but still kind of want to give a very rough idea about how I want to make this. And then you actually want to have like feathers all the way across, so it's like this big hat full of plumes. Then have a little bit of a beak here. But we can detail that. Finish out these details later. I actually want to make it like quite a big, like almost like a boss fighty kind, boss fight looking kind of phoenix. So they would have to like a bit of like a menacing pose. Again, my workflow with PixArt usually I just try to work like very rough, and then I can work towards details. So. But right now it looks a little bit like nothing, so I actually want to have like a very clear base before we get any details in. And of course, because it's isometric, actually gonna focus on the peak first. So because you're working like downwards, you actually want to have like a little bit more space. Basically, when I want to have like something, it kind of works with a line like this when it goes forward, and then it goes like a line like this sideways. So forward facing face would be something like this. But that seems to be working decently around here, so. Should be careful not to make it look like a dragon. Even though dragons are cool. Oops. Actually put a sprite on the wrong window. There we go, and this window should show me the Phoenix reference. So I actually wanted to have this like be a little bit like skull shaped, so there's at least some volume there. Move over the chat a little bit. I'll zoom this in a little bit more. So I tend to have like two ways of doing things. Either I start off with a very noisy drawing, but I'm also trying to make like a more clear, clean beginning before I get started. So I usually like to work very rough and then clear it up. But there's a lot of different approaches you can take in PixArt. So basically making some like bloom details which we can clear up later. I tend to do a lot of zooming when I work because I want to see whether how something looks from far away, but also from up close. So that's something I usually try to experiment with. So for this isometric perspective, like this wing is gonna be more important than the other one. Mainly because like the other one is going to be mostly obscured by the body. So it's important to have like one wing that's really shows the entire phoenix. I can usually birds have like really long necks, but like not as thick, just really long, thin necks. So that's something like I'm gonna be trying to create as well here too. Depends on the bird though. And then I also want to have like the beak to be like somewhat enclosed. And because it's pixel art, I also wanted to. I will probably make it like entirely one color. So like this. Probably gonna get rid of that beak in the first place. I really create a like enclosing beak already. And get rid of the ground to just give a more overall representative image. So I might just go with somewhat more stylized, but we'll see. Have like a little bit of a quirky eye like that. We'll see. Now it looks like a little bit like a duck, but that's fine. I like the idea of like soft round shapes. It's gonna be focusing on the main parts of the body. So the head and then the torso and then the other parts. And then of course, when we actually go towards the back, the direction would be more like this. If we were to draw an oval on there, it would be pretty much constrained to this place. It would be more like this. I'm not as great of a character artist as I am an environment artist, but I also do like to practice. Important for feet is that when they're on the same like depth, you kind of want to have like another of those two-step layers like this going down, so they would be equally as tall on both sides. So that basically means that this one doesn't go as far as this one. And now you can experiment with that. Keep it simple, things like the beak. Right now it feels like a little bit too long. You can just tweak it. Remove like small aspects, like they can have a huge impact on the overall picture. Like right now it is a really long neck and it kind of is like a sitting duck, but it's not a duck, so tweak it a little bit more. Also these legs feel like they're a little bit too far flung, so they're like feet attached to like the body, but they don't have legs. So I'm gonna be adding legs too. And of course these legs wouldn't be this far on the front. So I'm gonna put them like a little bit further back. I feel like this one can be a little bit like this. So it's tricky to get legs right like this. Especially as the rest of the body kind of goes backwards, so it's gonna be mostly a perspective challenge. I just feel like this feet is way off, it needs to be way lower. Actually I'm gonna leave the feet for now. I like the wings. I can keep them in, but have them be like somewhere else. Of course, these wings, they also kind of move with the rest of the grid, so I would actually be somewhat more front facing. Just to keep in line with the grid, isometric grid. But I don't really mind doing it like this, because this kind of feels like it's like having his wing raised slightly. So that's nice. Which basically means that for this side I would probably want it to have it somewhere like this. We'll see how that looks. But I'm someone who instinctively goes towards doing details a lot. So I really want to focus on the bigger picture first. And that's something I usually find really difficult, is to like get the baseline in before I start doing the details. For example, you can have like a tail. And that would probably be just flames like that. And of course, you kind of want the bird to have like a back side here. So the body is actually attached to like a back. And then this plume can be somewhat more higher. And then basically on this side would be the other wing, but again, this one is mostly going to be obscured by the body, so I'm not gonna actually work on these details yet. And now that I've got most of the body in, I might just do some more details on the legs. The legs are gonna be tricky. I might just not do the left leg at all, or like the right leg, because it's gonna be mostly be hidden by the rest of the body. So like this, it kind of has like feet. It's a good practice. I like the Pixel Dailies challenge because you kind of do things sometimes which you normally wouldn't do. And that actually makes you a better pixel artist, at least for me. So yeah, I kind of like it. Like sometimes you just make stuff and you feel like, oh, this didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. But I guess that's also part of being an artist, is sometimes you just make stuff and it's not your best work. But so far I'm liking this, but again. There's a lot of different ways to do work like this. So you can actually like fill out the shapes, see what it looks like. You can get a good feel for the lighting. So basically I do like some of it, but like when you zoom out you can really see that I kind of like how this flows, but I feel like the head doesn't flow right in the front of the torso, so can fix that. I guess the wings would also be more like that, and then have the plumes be a little bit more on the other side, but that really depends on how you look at it. I don't think the wings would be that white. Now, if I do it like this, you could make a case that this part of the wings would be flipped like this. I'm not sure if I like that more or less. Kinda like it though, maybe. I'm also just like experimenting a lot, trying a lot of different things. I always do with pixel artists. I do have some references, but I'm also deviating from it a bit, so it's basically just making my own combination of a few references I do have. I don't like how this flows yet. I think this one needs to be way higher. I think this we might just want to bring this down a little bit so that we can actually draw a body. Yeah, and then it might just need to go like a little bit more to the left. Like the hardest part is always getting like a good grasp on the overall picture. Really see how things flow together. I think the head might just be too much facing back too much. I mean, on one hand, I do like the goose, the goose neck. It kind of gives it a bit of a character. It's basically a flying goose, flaming goose, flying flaming goose. Um, a flying flaming goose. Oh, it looks like a parrot. Not sure if that's better or worse. I do kind of like that. Kind of do. And we can do some weird shading stuff afterwards. Maybe. I mean, at first I thought like having this little extra beak part gave it a lot of character, but I feel like whether we do it like this or like this, I feel it works better. Just makes it slightly more cute. Yeah, I feel like that's gonna work for the back wing. So it's a tricky part, I guess. Mm. This kind of creates a weird intersection with the beak. So I kind of want this wing to be behind the beak. And I'm actually gonna put it on a different layer overall because I kind of just want to experiment with this space more without having to be scared of the stuff I do with the beak. Then I can just remove the stuff here. Whatever I do here, I can just fill it in. Even this stuff, it's like way too large, so I'm gonna carve it off a little bit. Then again, these wings do need to be a little bit on front, so it's always a little bit tricky, but that's fine. Just gonna make a happy little phoenix. So how do I make sure I separate these parts? Yeah, let's just do some weird glow stuff here. So I want to do that on a different layer. Like, I'm actually gonna make some more interesting stylization choices here. Just to make it a little bit more cool, I guess. Flame is unpredictable, so we can tweak it a little bit. Actually, so for the eyes we could not go multiple directions. We could go with like the celestial being with glowing eyes kind of way, which might not work so well. Or you could just go with like the dark eyes. I think both could work, but I kind of like this. It makes it look like a really funny pigeon something. Pigeon bird. I do want to use that outlining like this to kind of like separate the head from the fire plumes. Then again, I don't want to separate it too much. That also might just be the shading here that we can improve a little bit. I'm usually quite a detail-oriented person, so whenever I do these things, I kind of like doing details the most. And I also want to work with like some cool shape languages like that. Make it really my own Phoenix. Like, there's a lot you can do with shape. Like, of course you see a lot of renditions of how phoenixes are usually drawn. But I was like, yeah, but I also want to make it like somewhat original. And some details that make it like my phoenix instead of just a phoenix. Still, I feel like I'm not as good at making depths in creatures in isometric perspective yet. There's a lot of room to grow there. But again, it's a tricky perspective for most artists, so I'm not feeling too shabby about that. Yeah, isometric is a fun style. But there's no issue if I merge this just to see what it looks like. Kinda like it a little bit more when it's actually separated. Also having a new microphone coming in tomorrow. Just looking forward to that. Yeah, I kind of want to merge this down because I feel like the rest of this body is too high. I guess it's when I do it like this, it feels more like a cockatrice, which is like a long-necked bird. But then again, that was also kind of the direction I'm going for. So yeah, I feel like there's lots of room to work with here. And one of the things I don't like with what I'm doing right now is that I'm making the neck too tubular. So I want the neck to be a little bit more starting off like really thin and then opening up more as the body continues. But I'm not sure if I like it when I do it on that side. I guess I could just take the head and really feel like where the head would be placed on the body. At least kind of body. Because I do like the head where I have it right now. I like where the head's at. I feel like the body needs to be like, like a little bit more of a overall integrity to it. Especially with the wing, kind of want to have like the other wing there as well. Just to get more of a feeling. And I guess it's easier to do that when the head's not obscuring the entire body. So you can actually prop up, like, plop the head on top of the body once the rest of the body is finished. Basically, make it a headless chicken. Really large headless chicken. Um, and I also feel like phoenixes usually have like a really long tail end of the body. Which is, as of right now, it's not really connected. So I'd probably fix that. Like I could do it like this, but I'm not sure if I really like it because it feels like it needs to be a little bit more isometric. So instead I'm just gonna move some things a little bit more to create more of an isometric perspective even for the tail going into it. So I'm gonna make a different layer for the head for now. I really want to feel like get to a place where I feel like okay, this is where the head would be. Where it kind of makes sense. For example, if I were to place the head here, that was basically where it was before. It felt like The bird wouldn't not have like enough body to work with. Maybe it would. Maybe it would. I mean, technically, you could say this and you would reduce the neck somewhat. Then you go to this layer and you get rid of all of this stuff. I guess that would work, but then you would also want to cut off some of the downwards parts right here. Actually merge it down. Cut off some of this. And then you still have like that other wing behind there. And then we can make these wings like actually flammable. To create a good contrast with the rest of the body. A little bit more aliasing. Anti-aliasing. Still think this palette was a good choice. I feel like it works quite well. A little bit more of a chaotic flame pattern here, without making it too overwhelming. And make the body itself a little bit more of a smoky red. I like the tail as of right now. It kind of attaches to the body in a strange way. Might be a little bit too much, but I kind of like it still. Just cutting off the edges a little bit. Some points also about like just going with raw feeling and just disregard anything else. Like that's part of art. It's like it's art. Just go with whatever you're feeling. That kind of makes the overall picture better, even if you might feel like what you call it? Unconfident on it. Like You don't feel confident on your art? You do weird stuff? But that's what makes art art, is doing the weird stuff, so doing the unique stuff. Otherwise it would just be pictures. Something I'm trying to get better at myself too. Just making art be art and not always working on just creating a picture that looks nice. Just actually make something that you vibe with as an artist. It's very important. Just really feel your own art. Yeah, having fun with your art. Like, when you're too caught up with the process of what your picture should look like, you don't spend enough time actually enjoying making the, like in the flow of actually making the picture. If you're too self-conscious about it, I mean, it's nice to actually grow and look at your art in an objective measurement, but it's such a subjective topic, I guess. Like even now, I'm experimenting with so many weird things and I don't know if they're gonna work. Like what does work even mean in the case of such an art piece? I guess overall it's important that things remain readable like this, so you can't tell what's the head and what's the wing. And you basically just use general art principles like contrast. For example, this beak is really dark, and I was thinking about making it like a lower a lower contrast level than or light value than this wing. But since this beak is really dark, I'm probably still gonna make it a little bit lighter just to create a bit of contrast. See whether that works. See, like I don't want to use the colors of the beak here at all, because then the beak gets a tangent with like the rest of the wing. When I actually use the light colors, it feels like it's a separate part of the art, part of the wing, not part of the beak. So that kind of works. And I just want to have to translate it to all the parts of the art here. At some point you just run into the nitty-gritty detailing, and that's fun too. And then at some point you just gonna reach the part where everything you add is charm, character. Like giving the bird a bit of personality too. And then I'm thinking, okay, so I have this way of flowing with the flames. It comes to the other wing. Yeah, I'm actually gonna like get as much of the wing here as possible, just to see if I can move it a little bit more outside of the beak space. But I guess having that in the beak space is kind of something I have to deal with. But it's not that much of an issue. So you want to have the chest be a little bit more lit. Be like a glowing chest, that could work. Like have that be like a source of heat. Actually gonna make this wing a little bit more part of taking over the body a little bit more, just to have like be a bit more imposing, and then add some more details to the other wing. Actually make like the neck here a little bit more apparent. Feel like the face is gonna be a huge detail, so. But I also don't want to make the outlines there too apparent, so it's always a balance. I feel like the other wing is like a little bit too short. Like we could take like some part of this, flip it, and actually attach it to this side, rotate it a little bit, and then clean it up later. Actually, even if it might not be correct, I'm actually just gonna get rid of this, because I feel like the bird just reads a lot better when I do that. So kind of sometimes you have to like cut an edge just to get everything feeling a bit more cohesive. Especially with pixel art, sometimes you just have to do things a little bit differently just to make things more readable overall. And actually, and this is also going to be another like personal choice. It's like, yeah, okay, it has like a leg, but I want this to be like a really thick, like chicken leg, like an actual drumstick, like a combustion level thick leg. And these are all personal choices too. Like you could go without combustion type legs and you'd be fine. So. These are all personal choices, so. That's a really big leg. Big feet. That's fine. That's always a challenge in Pixar. What details do you keep and what details do you remove? I think this is nice middle ground. Yeah, I'm starting to like where this bird is going. Like, of course, there's always things you want. You could do better or could do worse. So, there's not much use worrying about that kind of stuff. Generally, if you try your best, that's enough. Nobody needs to do more than that. Just your best. If you do that, you're gold. And the golden thing, all you need to do. Just do it. I might not like what it's gonna look like, but that's fine. I mean, I like what this look like, and as an artist, there's a lot of art like common thing going around where artists are like very critical of themselves, and they're like, yeah, but I'm not that good of an artist, and I mean, of course, there's the imposter syndrome, and I mean, I deal with that too. But it's important to be aware of that. Like, you're not an imposter, you're actually a good artist, even if you don't feel like it. I mean, if you're just starting out, you also have like valet mix stupid or something they call it. Like, when you're just starting out and you feel like, yes, I have just started programming, I know how an if statement works, so now I'm a god of programming. That's also not how it works. But after you hit the valley of overconfidence, or like the peak of overconfidence, most artists fall into like a peak of or valley of being overly self-critical, and that's just generally not healthy, I guess. Just you gotta be proud of what you do because you're doing amazing stuff, even if you don't feel like it. Like, being an artist is hard enough as it is, so you gotta be kind towards yourself. Gotta be. I feel like this one might still be a little bit too long. Oh, actually, kind of like where this is going. Maybe like a little bit more like flames in detail. Just not have the entire tail be flames, but just have some highlights, fire highlights. I'm not gonna animate this because I don't feel like it, but maybe in the future I'll actually do an animated, because the reason why I'm not gonna animate it is because I made everything on one layer. That's a pain to animate. I applaud people who can work on one layer and actually properly animate stuff, because that's really hard to do, in my opinion. Basically, when you want to animate stuff, you kind of need to make like, okay, I'm gonna make this layer for wing 1, and I'm gonna make this layer for wing 2, and then I'm gonna make this layer for this and that, so and so. So you're gonna be prepared. But this is like one of my first isometric birds, so trying that on itself is plenty of challenge for me. So I'm not gonna challenge myself further by actually doing animated shenanigans. Mm. But like shading wise, shading is something I'm usually quite decent at. I mean, I feel like we're kind of there. There's a lot of things that could still be improved. I feel like the shape overall, it could use a lot more work. At least legs, they could be like a little bit more towards the side here. And I'm not entirely convinced about how the back wing is connected to the body yet. I just like have the body move on over here. Then you would actually want to have like the other wing attached like that or something. Maybe that could work. And then actually make the wing a little bit more like that. I guess that could work. And I'm still using like the beak to go by, but that's fine. Can work with that. I actually want to make like these wings have like these flame edges too, so just to make things a bit more consistent. I don't want to go too overboard with that because the overall picture is too important. I mean, I kind of like that. That wing being more like that. I mean, I can say a lot about it, but I don't hate it. I mean, I'm at the point where I could adjust this for details. Keep at it. But I think it's starting to look fine. The position works, so you're happy with it. I feel like this might just be a little bit too low because this wing also starts all the way across the body. I want to bring this up a little bit. Will I be doing a background too? Maybe a little bit, because I feel like this is a bit boring still. Nothing too fancy, just something basic. I guess I could make like a sky or something. We'll see. Just experimenting with what would look nice. Guess this is fine. This works. fine. Kinda like how this turned out. Not perfect, but it's my first bird in an isometric perspective, so gotta be relative. I hope you all enjoyed watching me make this bird, Phoenix. I learned a lot, especially about bird autonomy, specifically in drawing isometric. I mean, it's was a good challenge to get like this wingspan thing somewhat in a decent place, and then the actual body, then the get somewhat. I would probably tackle it a little bit different next time because this time I just drew some lines in the beginning, and I really committed to the early lines because I felt like I liked the overall flow of these lines, but they kind of like weren't more like foundational anatomy parts. So maybe I would start with like more basic, simple shapes for the anatomy, and then build from there. But there's like a lot of different approaches to go with making pixel art. So if you go with this approach, it could work just as well. I mean, flow-wise, it flows really well. So it's really about like trying different things and taking the best from each approach and learning from it, so that you can use some of these things in like more different approaches too. But yeah, thanks for being here, and I will post this on Twitter. It was a lot of fun to make like a little Firebird thing. So, Phoenix, thanks for being here, and I will see you on my next stream. Bye bye.